Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Owoh's Corner, my own little corner of art. And in today's video, I'm going to be working more on my teaser trailer. Yes, it has been taking me a while, and it feels like I've only really scratched the surface of my animation of this thing. But I'm trying to stay diligent, and I'm trying to, you know, stay working on it because this is something that I'm very passionate and very serious about. So in today's video, I'm going to be working on scene 2. Scene 2 is really just a collection of tweens, and that's actually fairly simple and fairly easy for me to do. I just need to draw them out, color them, and then I can set different paths for them to take. So yeah, fairly easy, not that difficult. Uh, yeah, watch me work on this real quick. This actually goes back to one of the concepts of animation I talked about, I think, like 2 streams ago, or at the very least last stream, where I talked about how certain artists want to break up their animation. So essentially, that's what I'm doing. You see right here how I had drawn a quick sketch of the background of the setting on this scene. So what breaking up your animation is that you're going to have a bunch of different assets and different sort of background elements that are each going to be drawn individually on different frames. So let me actually start a new layer so I can show you guys, give a little physical representation. So this structure right here, this is going to appear on the foreground, and the cards behind it over here are going to appear obscured. And then you see these different pathways and the sort of ground around it. That is going to be likely on the farthermost back. It's going to be on the farthermost back layer. You guys likely, it's going to be obscured and you guys likely won't see anything. These different buildings right here, they're going to be in front of the background, and they might end up being in front of a few of these cars, but all in all, there are going to be cars like this right here in the foreground that are going to be in front of them. And so again, in animation, what you're gonna want to do is really just break up how much work you have to do. You do not want to make too much work for yourself. Because again, there are different things like time constraints and other sort of difficulties or criteria like that where you can't spend too much time working on a scene or working on a particular object in a scene. A big misconception that I wouldn't say all animators make, but there are a few that make this misconception where they think every single individual frame is hand drawn. And while products like Arcane, Arcane is a bad example because Arcane is 3D. But there are products like Dota 2 Dragon's Blood and Castlevania. They have their shows use 2D animation. But even then, there are certain scenes where they may use tweens or they're animating on like 3s or 4s. So they don't have to do too much with their stuff. So what I'm doing now is I'm selecting this folder. This folder has a lot of my rough sketches on it. And so what I'm doing is I am altering the opacity so that I do not get, so my eyes don't, what is the word for it? So I can concentrate on what I'm drawing. Essentially altering the opacity so I don't get confused on which layer I'm drawing on. And so I can draw fine details so I don't get confused. So right now I'm working on this object right here. And I have the layer highlighted so I can focus on it. One of the things that I've actually started to enjoy with the recent Adobe updates is actually the fact that despite Adobe Animate still very much being a vector animating program, it's made steps and strides to sort of make vector animating easier, my bad. So essentially we have the advent of tools like the tool I'm actually using right now, the what was it called again? The fluid brush tool, which allows me to get more, well, fluid shapes with my drawing. Because back when I was in high school and I was animating more regularly, there was no fluid brush tool. A lot of my lines were scratchy and just overall kind of bad. But with the recent updates, it has made my job animating easier. Let's see here. Okay. So let's see this one right here. And so now what we can do is we can select this and create a classic tween. Perfect. So that is the first card done. And so essentially what I'll be doing is I will be working on all of these. So now that that is done, I can hide that layer and work on the next one. Okay. Now this one may be a bit tricky because what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to put this layer in a way that it does not, clip over or under the layer on top of it, or in this case below it. So first, it's right there. Okay. I can zoom in. I need to ensure that this layer is selected. So I'm going to zoom in on this layer, get my brush tool. I'll change to my fluid brush tool. I'll use about a good 5. A 5 is good, at least for the outline. Now, this is another time saver that you can do, where if you have to quickly fill in colors, and it was an old color that you lost or isn't in your history, or okay, so one of the things with Adobe Animate is that they don't have swatches. So in Photoshop, there's going to be like sort of like a color area in the top right corner right here that you have your colors, you can switch colors, and then you have swatches where like the previous 10 or so colors you used, you can just quickly flip through and use them. Adobe Animate doesn't have that. So one of the sort of quick things I do is I like to go to a previous object that I colored or a previous object that I drew on. I'll use the eyedropper tool to select that color, and then I'll go back and I'll fill it in, which is a nice time saver rather than just flipping through your gradient selection right here and trying to figure out, oh, which color did I have? Which color was it? No need. Just use the eyedropper tool. Now, I wouldn't do that for... Oh my god, I'm so dumb. Wait, so the previous colors were here all this time? Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, guys. Uh, I'm not gonna say don't listen to me or forget what I just told you, but I will say that maybe you should, uh, what's the word? Maybe you should look through your tools so you don't uh, have moments like I just did. Yeah, I'll go with that. Make sure you know your tools. Shit, I forgot to draw, dang, the headlights. I forgot to draw the headlights. Uh, it's okay. You know what? It's still early. I can always go back and draw them later. I did not turn these into objects, so I don't have to worry about what's it called? Having to edit the object. So I'm going to keep that right there. And yeah, I'm just going to keep that right there. And we can go back later and add headlights to it. Animation is the gift that keeps on giving, folks. So now that that layer is taken care of, let me zoom out. Which object is this one right here? Okay, folks, so let me draw this one now. Give me one moment. I'm actually checking my phone real quick. I know it's improper, and I have an audience waiting on me. So, anyway, where was I? Oh, yes. This wheel in the front is a bit wobbly, so I'm going to have to erase it. Okay. I think that's done. So let me go over the swatches. Actually, I wonder if there's a way for me to, I don't know, move my swatches. First, let me take it off here. That is not what I wanted to do. Dang it. What was that color for the windows? I think this was the one. I forgot to draw holes for the bumpers. Not the bumpers, but the actually, these might be the wrong colors. Mm. Now, what's a nice color for this car? I wonder. I have a brown car and I have a dark blue car. I think a nice dark red, or maybe, yeah, I think that's a nice color. We'll use a darker shade for the tail lights, and then a nice yellow for the front end lights. Okay, now that that is taken care of, let's see. Well, ain't that some... Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. This layer right here, I'm going to, well, actually, first of all, no, can't do that. So let me add a new layer because I messed that layer up. I'm then going to select edit multiple layers. I'm then going to select, use my lasso tool to select this area right here. Let me see if I can right click this. Okay, here's what I can do. I can cut it out. Then I will paste it to this layer. Now that that is right there, I can add keyframes here. So now let me select this frame right here, and we are going to move it here. Now I'm going to select this frame and create a classic tween. So now we have this. So now I have that object that moves over there. Now let me name these different objects. Car 3 and car 2. So that is 3 cars down, and I have 3, 4, 5, 6, at least maybe 6 more to go. I think I did like maybe 9 of them in total. There are plenty more cars, but I think I chose a good stopping point, which was like 9. Let's see which car this one is. So let me hide these previous frames, and let me hide these frames. I'm now going to create a new layer. I'm going to name this one car 4. So now let us see which car is lucky car number 4. Let me hide all of these, and then I'm going to select this. Okay. So, wait, and then it moves again. This project has been rather time consuming, but all in all, it's also been really fun to work on and really fun to do. It's exciting, and there's something about actually doing something yourself and wanting to put a project out there that is so intriguing and just nice. And then on top of that, I graduated, which is a huge thing. And I got an email from the office, from the graduation office, telling me that my diploma should be coming in the mail in the next few weeks, which is also very amazing, and it's very good news. And to come all this way to just graduate is, honestly, I'm kind of taken aback by it, because I always had that fear and I always had that concern that, what if I don't pass? What if I don't graduate? What if nobody likes my art? What if nobody hires me? And just to have 89 people on my channel that love what I do and love what I create, and you guys tune in from time to time, that is so heartening and warming. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for liking what I create, liking it enough to want to follow me. That's amazing. And there are still times where I don't feel like I'm the best at what I do, and I feel like I should be drawing better or doing better, but I don't know. All I can really hope for and all I can really work towards is getting better than my last project. Which I think is all any artist, and not just artists, but any person in general can hope for, is not trying to be perfect, but just being better than the last thing that you did. And I'm not gonna lie, sometimes it is scary. Sometimes I am concerned or worried, but I try not to overthink things or get too afraid or too worried. All I really can do is just focus on what's in my power and what's possible now. Sorry for getting kind of sappy, but just some things I wanted to think about and talk about. So I'm working on the next car. And this is a little off script, but I think, at least with this car, I might actually draw it as a van instead of as, I don't know, just a generic car. Not my best work, but it's something. Okay, I am not an expert when it comes to drawing automobiles. I'm fairly decent at drawing armor. My buildings could use some work when it comes to cars and vehicles. Give me some time, I can draw it and I can make my own original vehicles and stuff like that. But for an animation or something, that is one of my weaknesses. Vehicles are a weakness of mine. But I'm gonna work on it. Okay. That's another card done. So then let's see. Okay. So that's 3 cards done. No, that's 4 cards done. I'm on card 4. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh yeah, I remember this one. What was I trying to do? I was trying to draw these frame by frame, and then I said, you know what? No, this is going to take me too long. I'm just going to use a classic tween. So for those of you who don't know, classic tweens are essentially just programmed animation. You have classic tweens, motion tweens, and what was the other one? You have classic tweens, motion tweens. Then it was shape tweens. And those are essentially like little cheat sheets. They're little cheat programs you can use to sort of make the animation animate by itself, so you don't have to do too much. That's essentially its sole purpose. And personally, I rarely use tweens, but they do come in handy for sort of bigger scenes like this, like the one I'm working on now, where there are a bunch of different small moving parts that you sort of have to account for and make sure that they move. And it's essentially just a time saver, which is why this which is why scene 2 in particular, in my opinion, is gonna be the most shortest and easiest for me to complete and work on, because of the amount of objects that can easily be tweened and just sort of shortened for ease and comfort. Because, like I said earlier, there are buildings and different things that are going to be on different layers. This scene is a scene that I don't really like, that I'm gonna have to redo. This is the scene that I've been working on for the past few streams. I think I spent maybe 2 streams working on it, and then I also dedicated some time off stream to work on it some more. I will be right back, guys. Nature calls. Hello, everyone. I am back. And I think I was talking about something. I don't know. But while I was gone, I was actually remembering I had brought up Dota 2 earlier, the show on Netflix, Dragon's Blood, and it is actually getting a book 3. It's either like, I think they said it was either book 3 or act 3. I think they use acts, so I'm sorry. But essentially, Act 3, which is just the 3rd season, it's coming out this Thursday. And I haven't heard anything about it. I don't even think they uploaded a trailer, at least not on Netflix. Now, I don't really watch much Netflix, but I do watch a lot of YouTube. And to be honest, I haven't even heard anything I haven't even gotten like a trailer or anything on YouTube either. So like this came out of the blue for me. But I was just scrolling through Netflix and then it said, "Oh, new season coming Thursday on Dragon's Blood." And I'm like, "For real?" Like, yeah, let me watch that. Honestly, in my personal opinion, Dragon's Blood is like a hidden gem. It is a it's a pretty good show. I like it. I actually love it. Like, yeah, Arcane is amazing. And no, I'm not trying to take away from Arcane or Castlevania. Those two shows are amazing. And Legend of Vox Machina, I would love a second season of that. But Dragon's Blood is a bit of a hidden gem because I haven't even seen any like reviewers on YouTube talk about it. At least, and when I look for reviews of the show, like there might be one or two popular reviews, but as for like consistent, people consistent talk of the show, I haven't really seen any of it. And it's a really good show to binge and just watch because there's like a lot of drama, a lot of stuff is going on. What was it? I'm not gonna spoil. I'm not a spoiler, but it's a pretty good show. I like it. I can't wait for season 3. What I am concerned about, at least with this project, overall, I'm just concerned about how long this teaser trailer is going to take me. And, what if it's too fast or it's too slow or what other problems I might have? Because if I'm being honest, I just worked so long and hard on this. And if I complete it and I find out that, oh, like, I don't know. If I find out that things are too fast or slow, like that would be very disheartening for me. And it would just be very sad because to spend so long working on this, all of this, and like, oh, this is too short, or oh, this is too long, or oh, you didn't do this or that right. Like, I'm trying to take my time and I'm actually trying to make sure this comes out as a good product because I'm just very. I love animation and I love animating. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. With scene 4, the final scene, all I have to do is just color. Well, I mean, I do have to do the line art for the chairs and stuff like that. But I will say that this ending segment, this took me a good while to complete. Like, I feel like if none of my animation is good, then at the very least, this scene right here would get the message across. This scene in particular took a lot of love and a lot of time from me. As well as just the zoom and as well as just the zooming out portion, because each of these different chairs are individually drawn. Like I actually had to like get chairs set up and like film it, so then I'd have some idea of like how to have them all realistically zoom out. Like all of this. Like look down here. All of this is hand drawn. Each of these are a different frame. No tweens or anything. Like this was all done by painstaking hand, and I'm really proud of this part right here. I really love this part. This is my favorite part. Partially because it's the end, but also just because it took me so long. And I really, really love it. Now, for this scene, this final frame, I might actually cut it. And so instead of having this arm right here, it's just Owoh, the main character. And then it'll likely pan down, or probably, yeah, it'll probably pan down, and then it'll have the buildings moving up or something like that. But just all in all, the world, the characters, the different sort of things I've been writing about, to be able to put my ideas in a visual format, it's so, I don't know, just breathtaking. And to see my hard work and to see myself put my hard work out into a visible format, it's so exciting because what because I have a clear idea of what my vision is. And so to draw it visually and to share it with other people, it's just so exciting. And no, I don't have voice actors, and yes, I am a one-man animating army, but even if it's not gonna be that good, or the quality might not be as good when I release it, still to say I did this, I worked on this, I got this done, that's rather exciting for me. Sorry, I guess I'm a bit tired. My streams usually only go for maybe about an hour and like a few minutes afterwards, but I'm gonna try and push this stream for longer. Even the main character Owoh, I just love him and I love his design. I kind of want to go back and add more detail, but I'll save that for the pilot when I get some more hands on deck working on it. I've also gotten better at drawing eyes, but at this point, I kind of have to double down with what I've done because, again, at this point, I just need to get this done. I can't waste any more time on it. I can't spend forever in the pre-production stage, At some point, this is gonna have to go live on YouTube. I can't wait forever. I think one of the second most exciting things that I've been working on, like aside from actually drawing and animating it, is just thinking of the lore and the backstory. Because I didn't want to make a perfect world. I wanted to make a world that has potential or shows potential for mankind. This world, the planet, the entire world in general, it takes a lot from our actual world. The show, which is 13, it's essentially, what if we had magic? What if people in this world had magic and science sort of like equaled magic in that sense? Because one of the rules I wanted to follow is magic powers science and science justifies magic. So how magic is done is magic is desire or intent that is projected onto the world. So people like philosophers or scientists or educated people, they are likely the strongest when it comes to magic. So in this world, you have to think about what you want magic to do. If you want to make a fireball, then you're going to have to say, okay, fire is made from burning CO2. And like if I want my fire to be stronger, then I just need to add more CO2 to it. And despite having an underlying scientific base, there are other ways people manifest and sort of project their magic onto the world. So the example I just gave, those are arcanists, people who use math and science to project magic out in the world. Then you have druids and witches. They have a more natural and emotional way of projecting their magic, where they have to feel a certain way, and that certain emotion is transferred over into a feat of magic. Then you have religious people, like priests and ministers. They use faith. They're like, I know this fire is going to manifest. I know my God or whatever I believe in is going to make this feat possible and make this feat happen. So so how magic operates in this world is very free. There are constraints to magic, and there are certain things that one can or can't do with magic, But all in all, how magic is manipulated is very up to interpretation. It's very personal to the caster. And certain principles and certain methods are stronger than others. Like arcanists, they're better with science and how they manifest their magic. They're better at enchantments. Mages and witches, they are better at manipulating the terrain and stronger feats of magic. Those who have faith, they're better at healing magic. And all the different methods can commit to doing other feats of magic. Like, arcanists can't only just do enchantments, they can make fireballs and they can heal people too. It's just because of how structured or how these different groups and different organizations sort of choose to their mindsets impact the way they manipulate magic, that sort of goes with different proficiencies at base. And another thing too is thematically, magic in this world is the grand equalizer. If you are smart enough, or if you have enough passion, or whatever the case may be, magic will make you equal. It is the equalizer. It puts everyone on an equal playing field. But with that, there are still constraints in and of itself. So, like a child, like say a child wanted to, I don't know, go back in time. Well, there are gonna be limits with that because a child, they may be good with, just using their emotions or having a lot of passion for things, but the collective unconsciousness, they're gonna say like, essentially there's like a collective unconsciousness where sort of how people view the world to be, that sort of unconscious mindset dictates really what can or can't be done with magic. And again, you also have to realize that this is a society with magic. So a kid, they may be angry one day and say, I want to burn down my school, or oh, I want to set a fire in my classroom. While the teacher who has the higher education, they might have put wards up in their classroom that keeps a kid from setting it on fire or keeps magic from going out wildly. So while danger does exist, because of sort of a soft or hard wall, it sort of keeps things keep themselves in order. It's not like, oh, only one person can use magic, or oh, only one person can use one type of magic, like certain anime or certain video games. It's more so like everyone is able to use any kind of magic, and every person on Earth is capable of using magic, and so the world has adapted to adjust for that. So there are magic policemen who have spells themselves, or who have created like special enchantments on their guns or ammo that sort of stifles magic or keeps people from being able to weave magic. And there are other constraints as well, like a mom could be pushing her child in the stroller and say the baby has a tantrum. Like, even if the baby has a tantrum, and even if their magic goes wild, the mom, as well as the structures around them, like buildings or lampposts and the sidewalk. They have their own precautions to sort of like absorb or redirect that magical backlash. Magic is a free resource, a resource and a power source that anyone can tap into. And it's entirely green. So, and I'll expand on this more, like, should I make a pilot if I get enough traction to have a pilot. But essentially, how magic operates is there is this mineral, this extra element in the air called ethos. I think I actually brought this up in a previous stream, but essentially there's this element in the air called ethos. And so like how one has the carbon cycle or the water cycle, there exists the ethos cycle. ETHIS. So this element is constantly being cycled through the human body because after the cascade, the planet always had ethos. It's just the cascade, this near apocalyptic event, reactivated the element. So it gave people the ability to actually tap into magic and use it. So just having ethos in your body, in your system, it already gives you a bunch of benefits like a longer lifespan, you're more durable, you don't age as fast or you don't age as rapidly, and different things like that. So there are a bunch of passive benefits from just having ethos circulating and being contained in your system. And so the actual active usage of ethos are feats of magic. And I'm using magic in sort of a loose umbrella term because there are more overt displays of magic, like magical spells or levitating things and different things like that. But there are also more passive forms of magic, like ki, or sustaining yourself, or increasing your strength, or actively increasing your durability. Magic is just sort of like the umbrella catch-all term. But there are active, passive, and subtle ways in which magic is being used. And so there was this whole event that happened like after the cascade. So after the cascade, there were a bunch of different companies and organizations. This was actually before the cascade. So like before the cascade, scientists and meteorologists and different, spatial organizations and stuff like that, they predicted that there was going to be a world-ending event that was going to happen in the year 2000. So after this news came out, and it was backed by many sources, like many varying fields of science was overlapping and sort of were able to hold evidence that yes, this world-ending event would happen. And so after it was backed and sort of explained that yes, the world is going to end in X amount of years on the year 2000, that was when that was when the United Nations sort of got together. That was when actually, give me 1 second while I get a sip of water. This is making my throat dry. Okay. Sorry if it sounds like I'm rambling, but so after each of the different nations and countries figured out that the world was ending, the United Nations enacted a sort of protocol that allowed all of the nations and countries to come together and work together. And they got into contact with a bunch of private companies as well, which kickstarted the which kickstarted Project Noah, Noah, and it's actually I took inspiration from Noah's Ark, but there are a lot of different shows in media that say, "Oh, Project Ark" or Project XYZ. In this show, it's Project Noah because I want to be different and I don't want it to come across as me copying people. But essentially, many different private companies sort of had their own solutions. So with Project Noah, they made underground bunkers or undersea bunkers. There were some projects that even thought of sending people like into space or into the moon. Different projects and ways of trying to help people. And so by the year 2000, when the cascade was projected to happen, that was when people went to their assigned domiciles. So some people went into cryo sleep, other people went underground. There were also these like buildings and different stations that were made to sort of like, if people didn't want to go underground, they could just go into these other types of bunkers. And so after people were relatively safe in these bunkers, and yes, there were some people like religious fanatics or young adults who just said, you know what, the world's gonna end. I'm just gonna party. I don't care anymore. Or like, I'm just gonna have one final supper with my family. So there were those people who decided to stay out of the bunkers. And I'll get back to them later. But I'm talking about like the sickness and the disease that happened. So sometime after Project Noah, when everyone was sort of in their bunkers or in their sort of like protected area, there was this, I'm not going to say a system failure, but there was this leak where this new pathogen got in. This pathogen is actually the ethos that I mentioned earlier. Because ethos is a new element, there were no filters for it. It's not like you can filter oxygen or filter carbon dioxide. People didn't know it existed. So once the cascade happened, which released ethos, it was able to get into different buildings and get into different structures that housed people. And humanity got sick from it. That was called the 60-day disease, where it was just sort of like a complete sickness. People were bedridden, people were going into comas, people were coughing. It was, all in all, it was horrible. Some people even had like lesions, but like afterwards, once people stabilized, that was when they noticed the side effects, which were, oddly enough, revitalization. Like the elderly became younger, people stayed in the prime of their life for longer periods of time. There were also some downsides, like certain teenagers or certain kids, they weren't progressing through puberty as often or as fast. it was essentially just like people were. It was like before the time of the. If you read the Bible, and this is actually sort of where I got the inspiration from, but like before the Great Flood, when God flooded the earth, essentially people would live for like 500 and 800 years. Like Methuselah, he lived to be 999, or was it just flat out 1,000? But essentially, yeah, with the introduction of ethos magic, people were living longer and people stayed youthful longer. And so after that, that was when they decided to sort of brave the outside world again, because people were becoming healthier due to this 60-day sickness. And during that time, what was happening outside was the people who chose not to go into bunkers or to not go into some sort of like protected facility, they actually got the full brunt of ethos. And that is how they sort of, the phenomenon was called returning to nature, essentially because they had because they had direct contact with ethos itself. They sort of mutated, becoming beastmen, elves. Some of them became dwarves and dark elves, and different fantasy races that we see in modern media. So if you see like a giant talking dog person, or a chick with cat ears, or a sexy elf, then more than likely they were someone that chose not to go into a bunker, or they're descended, or they're like the direct descendant of someone who didn't go into the bunkers. And that is why this show has cat people and dog people. Don't judge me. They are amazing races. And yeah, this project has just been so fun and so nice to work on. Very exciting. Very time consuming, but also just all in all, very exciting. I'm gonna have to loop this. I feel like this scene is going maybe a bit too fast. I might want to go back, and I'm probably gonna have to make this 3 seconds long instead of 2 seconds long. That's right here. Let's see. Scene 4 is good. Scene 3, I'm gonna have to do the back half. Scene 1, let's see, scene 1 right here. Okay, so scene 1 is good. If you guys saw like a blank spot, it's here somewhere. So right here, I actually have to go back and add add 2 more frames that I need to color and do because it wasn't animating as smoothly as I wanted it to. So I had to go back and read and add some more to it. I'll actually probably finish that up off stream. It's just like a slight thing. This one is my what was it called again? What did I call this again? My city overview? Yeah. This scene is going to be a sort of transition scene. And oops. My news popped up. That was not supposed to happen. This is going to be sort of like the final scene. You know, what I could do is once I put the final line art on this, I'll probably just end up using the circle tool. That could save on some. Actually, no. You know what? I spent this long working on it. I might as well just see it through and just animate it all by hand. I think I'm actually making some fairly decent time, and I really liked just how long I've been working on this. Obviously, I do want to get this done, but seeing this project and taking a step back to look at it in full and to sort of just look at how my scenes and everything is progressing, I am proud of the work I've done. And I don't say that lightly. I truly mean that I am proud of and I'm happy with the progress that I've made. Because this did take a long time. This did take a while. This wasn't some easy thing that I could have done in a week's time. Before, like, I was working on this while I was researching for my video, what was that video? My video essay. So I was working on this off and on. And now, while I'm job searching, I've been working on this still. And it's coming along rather nicely. I like this project. Now, as I reflect on it, I do think I need to play with my line art more. It will probably help my projects if my lines were thicker, because what I usually do is when I'm like rough sketching for my animation, I try to use like the thinnest or smallest line possible so that I can go back and so that I can see what I'm trying to draw. Because with things like animating characters, you want to have it sort of small enough so that you can see, okay, where are the ears, where am I going to put the nose, and different things like that. This has just been such a nice project to work on and to do. I've really loved and I've really enjoyed working on this. And yeah, what else can I do real quick? What else am I okay with showing you guys on stream? My freaking awkward ass that hates showing people my stuff. No, I shouldn't say I hate it. It's more so like I just want you guys to see the finished product as soon as possible. But at the same time, I don't want to give you guys crap. I want to make sure that whatever I do, whatever gets done, it's a good looking project. It's a good looking product. Anyway, yeah, I think I'm gonna call it for this session, for this stream. And yeah, it's been fun. It's been nice working on this. This has been Owoh's Corner, my own little corner of art. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share even. Guys, I'm on the road to 189 subscribers, and let's see where I go from here. So yeah, this has been Owoh's Corner, my own little corner of art. And be on the lookout because I'm actually designing a new logo for myself. So yeah, I'll see you guys on my next video. Bye.